Alrighty. We're live. What's popping, Andrew?
So, is the
Montana.
beer thing usually before you record or during?
That's during. Um, just to get, you know, the experience at its peak, I believe in a decent but not too much of a alcohol consumption.
I know
Don't
this about you.
mind. Well, it's quarantine. It's like normally I don't really drink very much, but specifically for this and like
Yeah.
afternoons, it's all about the mixed drinks.
Yeah, Sarah was making a lot of blood orange whiskey drinks
Ooh,
before we left.
that sounds nice.
Pretty good. Yeah, yeah. She's taking her
Tasty.
botany into it and stuff. And
Oh yeah, I wanted to add a bunch of plants to the so I make like a custom like background image for every podcast, and because it's Andrew and we're talking springtime, try to get a little spring action in there.
yeah,
Um
we brought all of them with us across the country, and actually, I think none of them died. We got 100% survival rate across the
What?
country. Yeah, yeah,
That's so impressive.
insane, insane. 12 hours a day of
Congratulations to the
driving.
plants. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially we were sure some of them were gonna die, and that was gonna be a transition, but nope, they all lived.
Wow. I
Yeah,
mean, I think we should get this out of the way. Andrew, Montana, no longer in Berkeley, California,
yeah,
now in Charlottesville, Virginia.
yeah. Charlottesville, it's insane.
That's where that
When,
woman got run over by a truck.
yeah, it is. 2017, Heather, is her name. Um, yeah, so I think people associate Charlottesville with being like conservative, but the reason that those protests took place in Charlottesville is because Charlottesville is like this super liberal
Mm.
city. They actually had voted to remove a bunch of Confederate statues,
Yes.
and so people from the surrounding South were protesting, and they
Of
all
course.
kind of gathered here. So but Charlottesville is awesome. There's this huge, beautiful music scene, and it's a pretty incredible place. Yeah.
That's
I
good to
spent a lot of
hear.
summers here. Yeah, you ever been to Virginia?
I've never been to anything. Well, actually, it's possible. Is Virginia kind of close to DC in that area?
Yeah,
No, like I
north of
think I think I spent a little bit of time, but not enough. Clearly, not enough. Not Charlottesville, that's for sure.
Virginia is like crazy because it's the South, but it's the South, but it's also kind of the North. It's like this weird kind of middle ground. I don't know,
Mm.
but we're on a similar. I think we're on a similar on the same axis as Berkeley, actually, or is like the Bay
Oh,
Area.
what? That's really
Yeah,
crazy
or at
to
least
think about.
that's what one of my friends who's from Richmond said. Is that Richmond, Virginia, is on the same plane as Richmond, like the Bay.
California? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
super trippy.
super weird.
Are you like do you imagine after you quarantine you'll still be in Charlottesville or what's the game plan?
I think we're going for a period of, at least I'm going for a period of kind of being a nomad. Kind of this nomadic period where
Mm,
I think the South is a good kind of base for a couple of years because it's so cheap and stuff. We can kind of survive without me having to work full time. Um, so probably Nashville is where we'll head for a couple of years. Obviously, good music scene.
hallowed halls.
Yeah. So go ahead to Nashville for a couple of years, and then I plan on touring just like constantly. As soon as this is over, I had 3 tours planned. Um,
Mm.
that I'd worked like well over a year on just like organizing these tours, and they just all gone, which is whatever.
Cool.
Um, yeah. So
Well, I
as soon
wouldn't
as
look
it's
at it
over,
like that. You still have all those connections, right? Like those venues,
yeah,
they're still there. Well,
yeah.
I guess the venues might not be there after this. We'll see. Fuck.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I think all the ones I have booked, I haven't heard about any closing. Have you heard about Honey Hive? Is Honey Hive doing okay? I know they had the fundraiser.
yeah, I'm assuming that's probably helping. I'm not sure if they're gonna close or if well, obviously they're closed in terms of venue action, but I don't know because I know people live there. Like that's actually like a
Yeah,
housing unit more
yeah,
so than it really is a venue.
yeah. I remember I think I played there four 4 times, maybe 5 times, and
Yeah.
we've been there and just seen like one of the doors opens up and it's like a hair salon or something.
Oh, what?
Like a little tiny, yeah. There's like a hair situation going on there. Yeah, it's funny.
Nice.
Never soap. There will never be soap in that building.
Oh, you mean in the bathroom?
Yeah.
The punk rock bathroom, all the stickers and everything.
Precariously placed. Some of them placed in very dangerous spots.
Well, I think there's one just on the toilet bowl, right? Just like as you're peeing on a sticker, if I recall correctly.
And someone at some point put that there, and had to get it dry enough.
Do you think they flushed or like they just stuck it in raw? Like they're trying.
I think they raw dogged it. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's such a. I kind of want to talk about that, even though it's not planned. What's your take on like the whole like bands littering like venues with their promo stickers, and then like 2 years later, it's like what is this random ass sticker doing? Like some of these band names are so random. And
I know it really. It's like a very it's a very ephemeral experience. It really, points out the ephemerality of what everything that we're doing, because it's just like it feels like it's your life, but then you check in on some of these people you've known, who are musicians, and obviously I'm still very young in my musical career, but like even now, like people I knew 3 or 4 years ago who are doing it are either like not doing it anymore. Some of them have just blown up. It's insane. It's that's the weirdest thing, because like when people just disappear, it's like, yeah, it's hard, but when they just like blow up out of nowhere, it's crazy. I don't know.
Can I ask for a name drop? Do you know any people that have blown up?
Yeah, my friend, we all knew my friend Shelfie Edu. He's this guitarist, and he ran the open mic that was like the first open mic I ever performed at. We would get like 8 people max. It's in this alleyway at a coffee shop in Redlands, California, and he ran the open mic, and he's just like this jazz guitarist. He's just like insane, so good. But he was on a track with Russ recently.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like, and now he's like TikTok famous. He's got like 20,000, 30,000 or more followers. It's crazy. I mean, he was always just like insane. I could just watch him for hours.
So the genre was hip hop rap, sort of? Or...
No, he just plays guitar. He's just like this insane, almost like I think he's in a math rock band.
Oh, okay.
But it meshes really well when he does like hip hop collabs and stuff.
That's really impressive. Wow, to take guitar and like make your guitar so good that it can work with other sort of. I mean, obviously guitar is part of that genre, but I don't think anyone thinks of guitarists when they think of like the famous people in rap and hip hop. Yeah,
no. Well, and it's crazy that he's like is good at this one thing, so good at it that it's just like he's taken off on any platform. He's like his Facebook videos. I remember were getting like 1 million views sometimes.
Wow. What is it specifically math rock, or what is he famous for from the guitar side?
You'd have to listen, like the finger tapping stuff and the jazz sounding, kind of just playing the melody and the harmony and the bass all at once, and just being crazy. Yeah. So he's probably the example that sticks in my head as someone who's just like so talented, and watching them from afar kind of blow up. But yeah, it is interesting when you see these stickers and you're just like, man, what happened to the purple frost tongues? You know what I mean? Like, where are they? If I were to look them up, like right now, if I were to go search them, what are they doing like right now?
Does the web URL really go to a website, or is it just say domain no longer?
Yeah, exactly. I think the same thing when I'd be driving to work in San Francisco and I'd see the like on the, oh god, what are they called? The little sticks. They're not bollocks because they're like thinner than bollocks.
When you're going
and
to
bands,
the
toll thing, and bands would put their sticker there. I always wondered, like,
bad luck.
Yeah. What if I'm the guy? What if I'm the guy that goes and looks this up?
That's the thing too. It's like when you see that kind of stuff, it's like you can't get any feel for what the heck they're trying to promote. Like, why would I be interested in this? And then
how does this speak to me as an individual?
The only action I know is your band is the type of person to stab things with stickers. Like,
yeah, it's really funny. I mean, Shea Cafe is even. Shea Cafe in San Diego?
No.
It's Music Collective. used to be a cafe, but anyways, and their whole bathroom was just like covered in. So it's obviously a thing that is goes beyond the Bay Area. It's any venue I've been to that's like DIY.
It is
I
the
love
sort
it.
of standard, right?
Yeah,
The
and I think
DIY.
the hope is that people that make music are going to have some level of like of an eye for art, and so it's not going to like fuck up your wall with some terrible art or be too gross. It all kind of coalesces.
Yeah, it doesn't usually end up actually being the best art, in my opinion. Shots.
Oh yeah, no, it's not great, but it's not like
Well, in a
same.
way, maybe if you really did have really good art, that might be what makes it worth it to even put the sticker in the first place. Like, but if it's just like text and like your social media information and like
Yeah,
that's
like
it.
eight different social media, like your Twitter and your Instagram and your Facebook. And it's like,
Oh man, that reminds me. I'm in this industry class right now at DVC, and someone brought like a pamphlet for like their open mic that they were doing in Martinez, and like 80% of it is just like people's names and like no vibe, no artistic integrity, just purely like
yeah,
this is the people that are going to be performing, and like it's just like
so
really
funny,
long.
dude.
But
I see when I see show posters like that where I'm just like, oh man, like this doesn't
yeah,
tell me much.
like the DNA Lounge, kind of like 30 people in a bill, but like
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
heard of none of them, so it's really weird.
yeah.
And you play 3 songs per band or whatever. Yeah, do you
I
know
like
about
it.
that whole
Don't
thing?
know about what
Do you
DNA
know
post.
about like, or just like the sort of like scheme that some venues do, where they book like a bunch of bands to play like 3 songs each.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it's like all like their first gig or whatever,
yeah.
and then they sort of have to like pay into it or something, or like they have to sell the tickets themselves.
There's a
It's
whole lot of schemes to get money out of people for sure, and I've seen them where I've played a show in LA where it was like I was playing for free unless I brought 5 people, and then I would get paid like $5 per head. But each person that came had to pay like $10. It just puts musicians in this terribly uncomfortable position of like having to pimp their friends out, kind
yeah,
of, which I hate that shit. That's why I'm all about like throwing my own shows. Like I fuck way more with that than most small venues unless they're DIY.
yeah. No, that's
Because you could just throw your own show and it's going to be a
yeah.
way better vibe. It's going to be so much fun.
The
Like
house
you
show
meet
is
more
better for
people.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and
it's overall like your Blue House shows were, I mean, I knew everybody there because like we're all homies or whatever, and there would be like some random UC Berkeley kids that I would necessarily talk to, not out of any disinterest. It's just like they only
they'd be
see them once, you know. If they came to
drinking
every Blue
Diet
House,
Coke.
is that what they drink?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But so we've had this kind of informal thing here, but I kind of wanted to get into a couple of specifics. Andrew
Yeah.
Montana, you've obviously, you seem to be making a bit of a transition. I kind of want to talk to you about springtime, music for springtime.
Yeah.
What's prompted this sort of poppier sound? What's
I think I when I released that, my last song was How to Love You, and it was just like these songs before Sounds of Early Springtime were super old. Like I wrote them when I was like 18, in college, and I like them, but they're very. I found myself getting responses from a lot of blogs of being like, acoustic pop, acoustic folk, and I was just like, I don't know, that doesn't connect with like me, and I don't connect with being a pop star either. I just don't want to be tied to something like that. And so I was like, fuck it. My producer's been wanting to like kind of take the reins and make a song that's his production and not mine. So I kind of just let him have almost full creative control over the song.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is the first time I've ever done it, where all I did was basically I could show you the demo later. It's very different. Very different. But yeah, so I just basically gave over creative control to him for most of the production, which is why it sounds like it sounds
Yeah,
like a pop song.
It's definitely different. What was he going for? Did he have a specific artist in mind that he was trying to like emulate, or it's like
I think
who is your producer, by the way?
my producer's Jim Greer. He's based in Berkeley in the Gilman area.
Okay.
He's worked with like Mark Foster, Matt Foster, Foster the People. What's the dude's name? Mark
Mm.
Foster. He's like that kind of vibe.
I don't know
Um,
the names of the that band. Unfortunately, I should. Need to
but he's worked with
download
a
all of them.
whole like Deltron, so like a bunch of different, I don't know,
Wow.
popular people. But he wanted to make it like a pop song, and I was kind of listening to like Conan Gray when I was thinking about like how I wanted the production to be, um, which is just totally different than what I usually do. But yeah, so I think it was kind of like teen pop. I don't know. I had to like describe it for Spotify for them to categorize it and stuff like that, which is always the
Mm.
worst. But I described it as like teen pop. I don't know, danceable, romantic song. You know?
Yeah. Did you write the lyrics at all, or so literally the whole thing
Yeah.
was?
So I wrote all the lyrics. I wrote. Well, no. When I say creative control over the production, I just mean everything outside of the guitar, vocals, and words, melody,
Oh,
writing.
okay.
All that was me. He just did the beat, basically the beats and the mixing and stuff like that.
What would you
Yeah.
just? Is that like a 50-50 split then, or like in terms of effort? Do you think, or how would you like put it into that kind of context in terms of like if it made money?
Interesting. Oh, if it makes money, well, I have complete ownership of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just paid him to produce it, basically.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So he, I mean, yeah, that's basically our relationship. Is he charges me a little bit because I'm young and whatever, poor, and then we
Mm-hmm.
work together on these songs, and the hope is that it'll kind of blow up and stuff. I don't know, but
Hey.
yeah. So the next song we're working on is totally in the opposite direction. It's more like acoustic and weird and stuff.
Well, I think more experimentation is better. Like I want to hear all the
Yeah.
different facets of Andrew's mind.
When I was getting compared to like these like acoustic guitar playing guys,
Mhm.
and that's not really what I listen to.
Yeah.
I listen to some of it. Like I like Field Medic and I like Sturgill Simpson and like some folk artists, but
Mhm.
primarily I'm listening to like just a cacophony of different sounds that are not, generally just singer songwriter.
You're not trying to be pigeonholed, I would hope.
Yeah, which I guess is like my goal is because I know like I have to have a signature and a sound that's mine. I just don't want that sound to be based on the instrumentation or the feel. I want it to be, or sorry, I do want it to be on the feel. Like I want people to be able to recognize that it's me and my sound, regardless of the instrumentation and the production.
That's super important to
Yeah,
have, obviously. So
like there to be a through line that is me throughout the
this
various
is
different types of
Andy.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Andrew Montana. Sorry, I love Andy. I just can't help myself.
No, every time you say it, I think of Tiger, and it makes me.
Oh,
We
Tiger's
saved.
watching.
I think
Tiger's
in
in
a
the
box we have, the dollar he ripped in half and stuck above our bathroom.
I have heard the story. Yeah, quite
We
quite a
saved.
tale.
We saved it, so it's
Aw,
somewhere in the.
aw. He says "Hey" and he gives a little heart. So shout outs to Tiger Leet
Yeah.
every day, homie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear that you had like your producer do. I guess would you say 50% of the production? Is that like, or just like he just did the
Yeah.
besides I
So
guess the vocals and the
the
guitar.
song used to be it sounded the exact same. I think he sped up the tempo a little bit, so he sped up the song, and the chorus used to go. She said, "Hold me tight through the night, 'cause I need your
Ooh,
light,
that's
your
very like.
light, your light." And then he cut
Wow.
out the whole first part of that to just go straight into. She said, "Hold me tight."
Wow.
So it just cuts right into that. So he just like basically cut off the like fat essentially and made it
Mm.
this kind of leaner thing. And then the beat is just drum machines and his piano playing and yeah, synths. There's like a lot of
Okay.
synth work in there that's hard to kind of hear at first, but yeah.
That's the classic with synths, right? They're not. I mean, obviously, when like someone really is hamming it up, you can hear a synth, but like it's
Yeah.
such a abstract
Textural.
sound.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very textural. And I met Jim because I first recorded at Tiny Telephone. Are you familiar with Tiny Telephone?
I am not, but I should. I wish I did know.
Definitely Familiarize
Familiarize.
familiarate yourself with
Familiarize yourself.
that.
Okay.
With them because they're probably like one of the most famous analog recording studios in the Bay Area. So they've recorded like Spoon and St. Vincent and Tune Yards and
Oh wow.
Death Cab, Matt Nathanson, like a bunch of
Tiny Telephone.
Tiny Telephone. Yeah, there's one in Oakland, one in San Francisco, run by John Vanderslice.
What a name.
So I recorded with them, and they are like strict analog, like no digital shit, really. Like it's all like traditional.
Mhm.
They're super in the synths and all that kind of vibe. And so Jim is kind of like the antithesis of that, like kind of using like a bunch of current tools and stuff. So
Dawes.
Dawes, yeah, my favorite band.
That should be like, I wish there was a really, really good band named Dawes. Dawes.
There's a band called Dawes.
I'm sure. Is it popular though? Is it good?
Yeah, isn't that my thing? Dawes. They have that song. Definitely a band called Dawes. They're they're like folk rock.
DAWS.
DAWES.
Oh,
I don't know.
I think I know what that is, but that's different. No, okay, for sure.
Yeah,
You're right. Well, I was gonna ask you. You mentioned this earlier. The blogs. You submit your music to blogs. What's up with that? Like, what, or how does that work?
Yeah. So I'm obviously just like, on step 1 or 2 of this whole thing, like whatever. So I just
Humble in
basically,
development.
yeah, and basically if you're under 10K and you're not signed to a record label, then you, when you're ready to release music, you can use something like Submit Hub is really popular, or Playlist Push, which you basically like pay $1 to $3 for a blogger or playlist curator or radio station to listen to your song, and they write back like a 20-word review or something like that. And if they approve it, then you wind up on a playlist, and if they say no, then you just
I think I've heard of this kind of stuff.
Probably, yeah. A lot of like indie artists use it. Like
it's a pretty common tool these days.
Yeah, it's also just so brutal though, because like you're getting rejected by someone who sends out literally 200 rejections a day, so they're very good at rejecting.
Well, yeah, that's how they make their money, right? Their job is to reject, realistically speaking, in a lot of ways.
Well, yeah, and if you don't reject a majority, then you seem like you are pandering. You got to look selective.
Yeah, what's your take on all that? Do you like doing it, or does it sort of feel like you have to do it?
I love it. I love just having the opportunity to get my shit out there, because I can't imagine how, especially with coronavirus and stuff, how I would do this without being able to just submit directly to curators and stuff. So even though it's brutal and you're getting rejected a lot, and some of them are like dicks, or you're getting like offended and they're speaking in Dutch, it's still like just having the opportunity to like, have your shit be heard is really,
you feel you enjoyed the value of that.
And it also, like, I take it to heart. I take all their words to heart, because I know, you don't do that stuff unless you like music, probably.
Yeah.
And so I take it into heart. Like if they're saying like, hey, I like the song, I just think you're not taking enough risks. That's what I heard a lot for How to Love You, is people just being like, yeah, I really like it, but I don't think you're taking enough risks with the song. And I was like, yeah.
What does that mean though?
I think I think what it means is like, there are things you can do to kind of set yourself apart. And the thing is, I want to do that. I enjoy doing those things, but sometimes I stop myself because I don't want to make it seem corny. And so, but if you go too far in that direction, then you just sound boring.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to fuck up your stuff a little bit. It sound exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. What is it like for you, Andrew, when you're like at the drawing board for a song? Do you start with just like something that like naturally comes to your head, or how do you go about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so I'm like an extremely compulsive writer, so I'm just like constantly writing a new song. Like I'm like literally every single day. I'm working on new songs and new stuff, and I have an entire. Obviously, that doesn't mean any of it's good, but I am compulsively writing, and so I have like literally an entire album that's done. That's 8 songs that I'm just waiting to put out there that I'm so excited about. None of it's been touched or recorded or anything like that. And the next songs I'm going to be releasing are songs that are I'm writing currently. So it's kind of weird, like the timeline's all wonky, but so yeah, I basically just fiddle around on guitar for a long time and then start stream of consciousness writing some words out, and then it's a song. But I'm very, very critical of myself, so if it's not like a good melody, I just don't use it. I just scrap it over and over and over again.
But you're kind of exclusively writing just with yourself generally. Then when you feel like you have something, you bring it to a producer, or
yeah. So I will do almost everything by myself. I'll record the vocals, the guitar. I'll write a bass track. I'll write drums. I'll do all this stuff, and then I'll give it to my producer, and he'll rewrite some of the stuff that's not my parts. Like he'll rewrite the drums, maybe he'll rewrite the bass, because he's like really good at music theory, and I'm just not. And so he'll do all like the analytical math stuff, and I just stick to the writing and the singing and performing it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I have a bunch of demos that are like fully produced by me. They're just not as good as his can be.
Don't say that. It's all relative, right? It's all relative.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but he's got like 30 years of experience on me. You know, I don't fool myself. I'm just like playing. I'm too lazy too. I think I'm too lazy to be a really good producer. You know.
It's like, I mean, the classic is like that is fair, and like I would say that your producer probably has specific talents that like make him useful for helping you, but ultimately like his job is just to like take on other people's work and sort of tweak it and sort of turn it. Is that generally what he does? I don't want to assume, but since that's what it sounds like he does for you.
Yeah. So he's able to communicate the ideas that I have that I can't communicate, if you know what I mean. Like I'll have a sound and he knows exactly how to get that sound.
So in a way, he's like your biggest collaborator so far.
Yeah, and he also has like millions of dollars worth of equipment that's also helpful that I don't have.
Sure, yeah.
And obviously you don't really need that nowadays, but if you're really, really smart and really good at like Ableton or something, but I'm just not that good at Ableton.
Do you have it?
I was using Logic, and then my computer was stolen and my car was broken into. So now I'm using GarageBand because it was.
What I heard about that? Oh my god, so brutal.
Yeah, it was on camera too. That's the worst part. Fucking Bay Area, man.
Yeah, of course. You can never leave anything visible in your truck, in your car, in your backpack.
Every band I know, every single band I know who's like toured in the Bay Area has gotten their shit. You know Radiator Hospital?
Yeah, well, I've known the name. I don't listen to them very much, but
yeah. So Radiator Hospital was like one of my, probably maybe my single biggest like inspiration musically.
Okay.
And the lead singer Sam was playing a show in San Francisco and he got all his shit stolen. Yeah, he told me about it like before the show, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry." We just met, and I was like, "I'm so sorry that happened." When their show ended, I was like, "Hey, it was great meeting you. I hope you have better luck on the rest of your tour." And then he thought I meant like that they sounded shitty, and he was like, "Do we not sound good?" I was like, "No, I mean, because all your shit got stolen." He's like, "Oh yeah, like all their equipment." But it happens.
That's the Bay. I mean, there's countless stories of the van getting broken into. Tiger's van gets shit stolen from outside of it. Like you cannot.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't hear about his. I forget what he's gonna type it in the chat in a second, but like something on the bottom that has to do with the muffler got like swiped because you can sell it apparently for a couple $100.
Yeah.
Now he basically can't use his shit, and it's like that is so brutal. Like someone slid under the truck and like
intimate. Yeah.
And then just slid away, and catalytic converter, dude. His catalytic converter got stolen.
It really makes you feel violated. It feels like they just like, no, took something off your body, you know? Because it's like they were like touching your shit. It's weird, especially like someone having all my stuff, you know? Was such a strange.
Was your laptop password protected? Like, is all that information?
Yeah, I shut it all. I shut it all down like immediately. So.
Because that would be the most brutal. Is like your laptop gets stolen, and then like this one song that you knew was gonna do really well, like some guy just rips it.
I lost a lot of
Copyright.
music, but I did like a Death by Fireworks.
Yeah, yeah,
Me and Jake we're homies, and so we organized a sting operation to try to get my laptop back.
no
Um,
way.
yeah, so I
How'd
was like
that
on
go?
Craigslist like every day, like looking for my model of laptop,
Yeah,
and I found one, and so I organized a meeting with this dude in Emeryville to meet at the Bongo Burgers or whatever.
yeah.
So we even called the cops, and like the cop was like waiting outside, and then me and Jake were going inside, and I had the serial number written down on my like arm so I could remember what the number was, and
Hmm.
we had it all planned out, and then it wasn't. It was like the same model, same everything, and it was definitely stolen, but it wasn't mine.
Dang.
Yeah, I never got it back.
Rest in peace, MacBook Pro or whatever.
Yeah, MacBook Pro. For that and meds.
Damn.
But
So,
luckily, so when they stole it though, this microphone right here was actually in the back seat, but it was under a blanket, and they left out like $500 worth of equipment because they
oh
didn't like.
wow.
Yeah,
Well,
they
they
didn't
probably
look.
want to get in, get out, right? Like take what you
Yeah,
can. They don't. They
yeah.
didn't get caught. Your shit's
They
still
didn't
gone,
get
Andrew.
my shit's still gone. Never got him.
So, when did you first get into making music, and like when did you first pick up your guitar, so to speak?
Yeah, my grandpa taught me how to play guitar. He's like everybody on my mom's side is like super musical. The people from North Carolina, like the country Appalachian folk, are all
I was
very
just
like.
watching a video. They talk different. Their English ain't the
Yeah,
same.
the English. Yeah, no, they talk very different, and they all just like I don't know how, but they intuitively have figured out how to play instruments like mandolin and banjo, violin, any
Wow.
stringed instrument. So my grandpa started teaching me when I was like in 8th grade, and then it's just from there. Yeah, I didn't consider myself a singer at first. For like several years, I was even in a band as a guitarist, and we had a female lead singer, and then she like heard me like just like I don't know fucking around, and then she was the first person that was like, "Hey, maybe you should try singing." And then here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's such a classic. You're just messing around
Just
and
around.
you're doing some laundry and then baby you're a star.
It's like wait, sing that again, sing that again.
That's actually I don't know if you know about Good Neighbor. They're like a YouTuber sketch comedy group. They have a I stole their joke just now. Anyways, look it up. Um okay, cool. I didn't know you was Appalachian or whatever.
Appalachian, yeah.
I guess,
North
but you're
Carolina.
over in Virginia right now, so there you go.
Yeah. Well, my dad's side is from California, like I think forever, like Mexican from California.
Oh wow.
And then my mom's side is the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina. Kind of a weird mix.
Are both sides of the family musical?
My dad loves music. Like my dad's probably who gave me my music like taste, like my interest in music.
Mm.
Because my parents were like super young, so my dad had like normal taste. He didn't have like dad taste. You know what I mean? He had like he was like in his 20s when I was like in my
Wild.
teens still. I think no, not in my teens.
No,
He
that's
was
not
like
possible.
in his like like my dad was 18 when I was born. My mom was like 17. So they his music was always like good music of the time. Like he introduced me. I think when he introduced me to, like the first two Arctic Monkeys albums and stuff like that, and like
Oh wow, that's so funny.
Vampire Weekend
Yeah.
and of Montreal and Dirty Projectors and all the indie music from like the early 2000s
That's
was
crazy.
my yeah. So that was my like older brother basically. Now people have like the older brother or older sibling who like shows them music. That was my dad.
You didn't grow up with the Beatles like the rest of us?
Nope.
Listening to that?
Not at all. Yeah, my dad never listened to the beat. Gil Scott Heron, Heron,
It's okay.
that kind of vibe. And my mom was a singer, so she sang, and then my dad liked music, so maybe that yielded something. Did your dad
Does
a
she
Beatles
still
guy?
sing? What's up?
Your dad a Beatles guy?
Well, it's more so just like my parents are from Canada, and I think
Huh.
there's something about like Canadians and just like anybody who was born in that era, specifically like 1958 to 1960. Like if you grew up during the heyday of the Beatles,
Yeah, kind of
you're gonna play
unavoidable.
your kids the Beatles. Like their
Yeah.
album came out on CD or something, and that's what I grew up with. But strangely, not to this isn't about me, but since you asked, Green Day was the second band
Oh,
that I was
interesting.
like American Idiot. My dad would play it in the car. He would turn it down whenever they said bad words, and then turn it back on because he wanted. I don't. It's super random, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny. Huh.
wild. So I did a little research, Andrew, and
Oh boy.
I have a little random couple of questions that I wanted to throw at you. Are you still listening to Smog, Palace Music, and Tiny Ruins? And would you still describe them as weirdly folky
Oh, is this from the Daily
songwriters?
Cal?
Yeah,
The
the
Daily Cal
Daily
interview?
Cal interview.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I just actually on the drive across the country I downloaded a Smog album and a new Palace Music album. And just listen to that on repeat. Fucking
Hey,
love those bands, yeah.
did you guys stop anywhere interesting? Like, tell me about that drive across the fucking country.
Well, my mom has type 1 diabetes and my aunt has type 1 diabetes and my grandparents are in their like early 70s, late 60s. So we were like super worried about catching something. So we basically, um, and Sarah doesn't drive. So we, I drove like 12 hours a day and we didn't stay in any hotels. We didn't get any food. We didn't like get any coffee or anything like that. So we didn't see anything really other than just like, you know, beautiful America.
So no photos, no posters coming on
No, we have a
Instagram.
bunch of pictures. We got those like let me see where it is. You know the oh shit. You know the like the little Kodak instant film
Yeah,
camera
yeah.
things.
You
I
do
have one in my back
backwards.
pocket, so I'm pulling it up. These guys.
Hey,
Yeah, so we got 4 of these, um, and they each have 27 exposures, and so we filled up those on the trip. Was the idea to have some kind of like visual memento? But
okay.
it's incredible. Like the first 2 nights were really rough. I only got like 3 hours of sleep. Um, and so we first night was like Seligma, Arizona. Second night was Amarillo, Texas, and then on the third day, once we hit Oklahoma, I just like passed. I was so tired, so I took a break and pulled off on the side of the road. Um, and all of a sudden, like within 10 minutes, well, actually, so we pull over on the side of the road, and I get out of the car and I realize that we're like completely stuck in mud. And it sounds fake, but like there were tornadoes happening. Like you could see,
No.
yeah, like you could see the tails. Um, and it was like about to rain, and I was like, I killed us. Like we're dead. We're gonna die in a tornado. Like fuck, it's about to rain, and we're like stuck in the mud. Um, and then within 10 minutes, literally, a pickup truck drives by twice, and this guy's like, "Hey, y'all need some help? You all right?" And I was like, "We're stuck in mud." And then he comes over and like literally within 5 minutes, he's like underneath underneath the truck, tying up a rusty chain in the mud, and he pulls us out and just saved the day. It was insane. Yeah,
Oh my god.
I didn't have any
You
money. Just like
just the homie saved the lives. Oh my god.
yeah, literally, it was the greatest.
That could have
His
been
name is
hours. Fuck.
shout out to Jason in
Jason.
Oklahoma. I
You got his
really wish I could
number?
have gotten a picture of him or something.
Just like, hey, I want to capture you real quick for a quick moment.
But
That's
yeah,
really
it was,
you guys got hella lucky. That's such a crazy story. Anything else that happened that was noteworthy, or just the brutal foot on the pedal, straight
you know,
lines?
I love driving and I love driving like across the country, but I wouldn't recommend not being able to stay in hotel rooms or not, well, not hotel rooms, but just not being able to get like food or coffee and good sleep is like just dangerous. But well, one thing we finally got to Charlottesville, and Sarah's my girlfriend. Whoever doesn't
Shout
know
outs,
is watching this. Um,
Sarah.
And she was like, "Oh, we made it. We're totally safe and fine, and we made it." And I was like, it was like 9 p.m. and we're like less than a quarter mile from my mom's house, and I was like, don't say that, like, don't jinx it. And we're going, and then it's an unprotected left turn, and some car just pulls out at the very last second, and I'm driving like this giant pickup truck with my Subaru attached as a to the trailer. And I slam on the brakes and swerve, and we're like fishtailing a little bit, and just barely, we were fine, we didn't hit them.
Wow.
But, yeah, last minute kind of derailment.
Dang, she jinxed it low key. Low key.
Yeah.
High key.
We had a good talking after that.
Wild.
Yeah. But it got better. The dread of like 40 hours to go, 39 hours to go, 38 hours to go is rough. But once you pass like the halfway point, it's not so bad. You can enjoy it a lot more.
Smooth sailing. You sleeping in the car? Was that what you were surviving on?
Yeah. We were definitely sleeping in the car and eating like those, the bourbon whiskey beans, or the maple bourbon Dr. Joe's canned beans.
Is that something you find outside of California? Because I've left the state like 4 times, 5 times.
I think you got them at a Target in Emeryville, But
they're
really? Like those, just like those maple, whatever, beans. We had beans, and we were sleeping in the truck. It was the first night we tried sleeping in the car, but when you wake up in a car, like the car has like a greenhouse effect, where it just gets, even though it was only like 75 degrees, it was just like super hot in there, and so we just decided to sleep in the truck every night. It would be romantic if we weren't constantly scared of dying from a fucking plague the entire way.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably would be okay, but you definitely don't want to spread it. So
to our families, I was really, really worried about my family. So what we did was wore a glove and then put the glove inside of a plastic bag to get gas. Like that was our method of getting gasoline. Yeah, it was. I mean, luckily, like for our, not luckily, because it's like probably gonna fuck up the economy, I guess. But like gasoline was like $1.15 the entire way.
No way, $1.15 a gallon.
Yeah, even in California, it's still like $3, I think.
Yeah.
The second we crossed from California into Arizona, it dropped like $2. Literally, it's insane.
So crazy. Yeah, no, it's still $3 down the street. Like what?
Yeah, taxes.
But I think that's because of our laws and shit. Like our gas is hella pricey because of our
goddamn liberal taxes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds awesome. I'm glad we got to hear about Andrew Montana, the adventurer, musician, legend. But you're only 20 years old, so still plenty more for that. But I kind of wanted to get more into like the business side of things.
Yeah, totally.
And I've noticed that you've been getting into like the meme TikTok game. A few questions on that. What made you want to get into that? Is there a game plan or what's going on?
Absolutely no game plan. It's just fun. Yeah. One of my
you're not a shill.
It's just like super fun. I don't know. It's just like dumb, and it's so like it's so dumb. You know what I mean? Like TikTok, it's like literally the shit you see that has like 3 million views and stuff like that is the most ridiculous stuff. And so it's like there's literally no stakes.
Yeah.
And obviously, like every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, listen to my music on Spotify. But most of the time, I'm just like, I don't know, fucking around, just posting whatever.
Yeah.
And that's another one. Shelfie is famous on TikTok, and my friend Anish has just fucking blown up on TikTok. And so obviously that's a little bit like, I maybe.
You wish, yeah, you want some of that. You give me some of that action. I mean,
yeah.
if you work on it and you keep putting stuff out, I mean, it could happen. TikTok is supposedly where there's a lot of growth, supposedly, for artists and musicians. Like, you can find a following there, but I feel like you have to fit a very specific niche of music. So
yeah, which I don't think I really do fit. Yeah, there's definitely a sound, there's like the kind of acoustic pop sound, which is just, I don't know. It's definitely going to be easy for a lot of people that have that sound to take off on TikTok. So it can be a good marketing tool.
That's what's on there. I thought it was more like kind of hip hop stuff or like dancey tracks.
See,
and stuff like
that's the weird thing about TikTok is that like you and I could go on there for a year each and have completely different feeds because reads your mind and stuff.
It's owned by the Chinese. Is that true? I still don't know, but
I think it is. I think I got shadow banned from TikTok because I was posting and getting a few hundred views per like TikTok, and then one of them got 0 view, like it wouldn't get views.
Whoa!
And it was a TikTok saying, whatever. It was basically saying like, it was okay. So it was me, and it said the Hong Kong protests, and then it was Ryan, Ryan, and it said Jeffrey Epstein's suicide. And then it had them hugging, and it said coronavirus.
I think I remember seeing this one on like reposted on Instagram. Pretty brutal.
So basically, like commenting on the fact that both those things have been covered up. Obviously, not putting any intentionality, but just pointing out that they've been kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
And got me canceled for a little bit. Fuck it, What are you gonna do?
Yeesh. Well, I mean, I guess start a new account, change your name to Mandy Montana.
Drew Antana.
What's the game plan for quarantine? How do you plan on getting through this time productively?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that I'm not trying to plan for the future at all because I don't want to take part in people coming to a show if they're gonna like get their family sick or something. I don't.
Well, yeah, that makes no more shows for sure.
So I'm not even thinking about organizing. I know people that are organizing tours already or planning festivals for like November, and I'm just kind of taking it as a time to really dive in and do the shitty stuff that I wouldn't generally have time to do. Like the really, the editing and whatever. Just diving in, and I'm shooting a music video entirely by myself, and
oh wow,
just doing a bunch of stuff that I normally would be too overwhelmed to do, and I'm not working anymore. So,
are you collecting unemployment? If you're not, a fool.
I'm not collecting unemployment. I applied for unemployment, but I haven't gotten anything yet.
Oh, I think it's like every month or something.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a horrible, horrible tragedy. Like, just unfathomable. Like 60,000 people already is just a number I can't even like really comprehend just the amount of sadness that there is there. So I try not to be like, oh well, when it's over, I'm going to do this and this. I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to play it by ear and just try to keep my family safe and myself safe.
Yeah, obviously.
In the meantime, try to dive in. And I'll be honest, like I'm really tired of hearing artists make work about coronavirus and about the plague, about the pandemic and stuff, because it's like I just don't want to hear about it. It's just like, God, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
How do you feel about all that stuff? Like people writing coronavirus songs and all that
in my industry class, one of our classmates wrote an entire parody of what's her name, Dolly Parton's Jolene, but quarantine. It's on YouTube, I think, so if you're curious, check it out. I haven't, honestly, I guess I don't, in a strange way, I'm not very in tune with what's going on in terms of that sort of quarantine based music. I don't listen to it. Where are people doing it, on Instagram or something?
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah.
Not on TikTok.
I don't know. I don't. Oh no.
It's like I feel like part of me is like, oh, I should be on there for the content, but at the same time, I just feel like it'd be more scrolling. It'd just be more time wasted overall.
It sucks it out of you. It's insane. It just like pulls it right out of your soul. It's amazing. Because most of it, like you'll see something and you'll just be on there for a while, and you'll see something and you'll be like, oh my God, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen after you've been on there for like 2 hours. And you'll show somebody else and they'll just be like, what? They'll just like won't get it at all because it's not funny. You've just been on there for so long that like the change of pace got you or something. But
The desensitization, yeah.
yeah, but I'm just like really I want people to make like in times like this I like work that is super taking apart things that we wouldn't normally be able to like appreciate, like the things that maybe your family maybe don't write a song about romantic relationship about like a family member or about your home or I've written a lot of songs about our home, but
Wow.
things like that as opposed to writing directly about the thing that's affecting everybody.
Yeah.
And obviously if it helps you and if it helps your followers, then fuck yeah, do it. But just I'm tired of hearing about the virus,
Yeah.
I say as I speak about the virus.
I mean, it's sort of been this like, I started this because of quarantine, so it is definitely affecting the podcast's overall ecosystem. It's just like every episode we talk about it because how can you not? But I think that's good to hear that you're kind of maybe going more inward in terms of growth and development. Like it's time to practice all the things that I wouldn't normally have time to because I'm stuck at home. Is that sort of what you're feeling?
I find that I really like the social interaction I'm getting through phone calls with friends and texting friends. It really is like great. Like I'm not in like some huge rush to just rush outdoors. I'm not pissed about the quarantine really because maybe it's like an only child thing, but I really do well with some level of isolation. And so I don't feel that like I have really bad anxiety. And so I feel like it hasn't actually changed that much. And I've heard that from other people who deal with anxiety and depression is that for certain kinds of anxiety and depression, like the isolation actually doesn't really have that much of an effect. It's kind of like this because it's more of an external realization of an internal feeling, Yeah. Like the paranoia and all that stuff just kind of becomes the norm on a global scale.
Yeah, no, for sure. I catch myself getting a little too comfortable at times. I mean, we might be looking at a couple of years of some sort of quarantine or lockdown, so might be time to put on our seatbelts. But what's been keeping you sane? What's been keeping you doing your best, I guess?
Yeah, so probably, I mean, the fact that I'm not actually isolated, that I have Sarah here, as you have like Katya, like it obviously is hard sometimes to be with one person all the time, but it definitely helps you not feel so alone. And now that we're with our family, obviously that's incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's weird. I still don't have like, it doesn't feel like I have free time. Like I know I do because I'm not working, true. But I'm so fucking neurotic that I'm still just like always feel like I'm working, like I'm just trying. It never feels like I'm working enough.
Yeah, no, that's really real for sure. I think that's something that like everyone is kind of struggling with is like the productivity to feel like you're a normal human being in society is still at its like it's only gone down maybe like 10%, but like the opportunity has gone down like 80%. So it's like it's a really weird thing where it's like we're supposed to be productive because like everybody seems like they're doing something, and like social media has actually gotten even more intense in a way. It's like, oh,
for sure,
this is how we communicate now almost entirely through social media.
Yeah. So. And it seems to be happening, like the way it's affecting people is definitely happening on a weird, like some of the people I follow on social media that are like boomers, like above 50 or so, seem to have a very like, this is the end of the world. Like it's over. This shit is like over kind of mentality.
The protesters.
Yeah. Instead of like, give it 2 weeks, just give it like, just take it as it comes. Like I know it's, we're trying to keep people safe,
In a way, it's really not the end of the world because it's the first time that we've actually significantly stopped some global warming progress. Not obviously completely, but it slowed some things down, which is crazy to think that like this is what it took. It was never going to happen unless we all afraid of dying.
It'll be an interesting experiment to see if it affects the levels, Anyways, to change the subject a little bit, I thought this would be something funny to show you. This is this cigarette is from when we had friends over, and one of our friends who's a huge bad influence,
Yeah.
gave me like a pack of cigarettes. Not going to name names.
I think I can guess.
And I said that like I would, and so I smoked like almost all of them. But this one like has somehow just like made it through the cracks and has never been touched, and now it's been like on a bunch of gross surfaces, so I won't. But I've decided that this is the 10K cigarette. It'll be untouched until one of my songs hits 10K.
You heard it here first. Motivational speaker Andrew Montana speaks that cigarettes are his motivation for music.
Just this one cigarette, really. It only takes one.
that the symbolism is not. I'm not missing it. That sounds like quite the reward you've got set up for yourself. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Not that I condone cigarettes, but I do think there is.
No, I don't either.
There's a value in, creating a little something to look forward to when you accomplish some milestone in life.
Yeah, it's dumb. I don't enjoy them actually that much. It's just like a stupid little milestone. I don't know.
What are you planning to do to get? Is the goal for springtime, or are we waiting on a different track? Like, are you just kind of seeing whatever feels?
Yeah, so the current song is always like the goal. If you, and it's easy to get in. Like you work on a song so long and hard that it's easy to be like, all right, next song. Like I'm not even worried about the sounds of early springtime anymore. I'm like, that's been my focus for like a year. I want to move on, but you have to kind of just stick with the current thing. And I think Sounds of Early Springtime is like obviously a very poppy song. So I'm hoping maybe it'll take off with people that like that kind of stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know Tiger liked it, and I definitely enjoyed it as well. So in terms of like our tastes and palettes, like it's definitely nice and refreshing to hear Andrew, do something a little bit more on that side of things, just because I appreciate your artisanship, but maybe like personally I don't necessarily listen to your type of music on a regular basis, but also having been exposed to it from all your countless shows. So
I'm waiting for the new Tiger music, by the way.
I think we have it there was like one posted recently, but then I had to be like, yo dog, you didn't really mix it very well. Like
hey, you need those people though. You really, really need those people to tell you sometimes like, hey, this ain't it. And then you quickly pull back a little bit and then come back stronger.
Got some stuff though. He's definitely got some stuff coming out soon, so keep your eyes peeled.
When I first moved to Berkeley, I was like convinced by people I spoke to who were usually like in their 30s or 40s who used to live in the Bay Area, and they would say like, yeah, like I love San Francisco and stuff like that. I love the Bay Area, but it's just no arts there. There's all the artists have been forced out, blah, 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 blah. And then I get there and I find that it's still there. It's just completely underground. It's still like huge. Like it's like this incredibly amazing, flourishing scene.
It's if as long as people like doing drugs, they're gonna like doing art. That's my aspect on that. So like, of course, Berkeley, SF, like all those places do have scenes, because like people still enjoy the experience of going out to a show or club or whatever, and art is always gonna be titulating, I would think. So
yeah, I saw in some like in Lithuania, I think they were doing like drive-in concerts.
Oh, interesting.
And I've been thinking about that, like how would that feel? I think I actually had the idea in Berkeley to do that as one of the shows, was go to the Safeway parking lot or something, or Trader Joe's parking lot, and do it drive-in style, where everyone pulls their, goes in reverse, sit in your trunk, don't drink too much, and then when the performing person sits in the middle and just plays some songs. And so I think that would be really cool if that became a thing.
It probably could work, but also at the same time, cars are awkward. I think of like, you should go onto virtual planes. Minecraft, RuneScape, Fortnite. Like, these are the places where music's growing now, Andrew. Come on.
I know, I've heard and seen. It's just hard for me to imagine like I don't know. I'll be honest. I watch my music friends like live streams on Instagram
Mhm.
and stuff like that, and I do enjoy seeing them, but it doesn't at all touch the same nerve. If you know what I'm saying, is it
Yeah.
doesn't even come close.
Especially
Um,
Instagram, in my opinion, the live streams are so awkward because you can't leave the video,
without,
and
yeah,
yeah, it's like, and
it's
you have to like
rough.
chat, and like the audio sounds pretty bad usually, and it's just
I
like,
don't even do Instagram live videos because I've been that like number 8, if you know what I mean. Like, oh,
mhm.
eighth person has joined the chat and then or is viewing you, and then I'm like, oh shit, if I leave, then they're gonna only have 7. Like,
Yeah, that's also the,
like fuck.
there's like this like total like lack of anonymity, and like so like you just feel like when you come into anyone's live stream, especially if it's a low, like it feels
Yeah,
normal when they have like 200 people already. Those
yeah,
streams probably do well because they have a following, and so
yeah,
like they're not tripping about like the fact that like there's like only a few people. But especially, yeah, when you're more smaller in
yeah. And
terms
you're
of
like,
like following, it's just
you got under 50, and I join and I'm watching. Like, I might stay only because I feel guilty leaving, and that shouldn't be why you stay.
yeah, that is a big issue. I feel like that's what I've always been telling people to like explore other options. I mean, Twitch obviously is more gaming oriented, but I've been trying to see if there's really an opportunity to make it work as a more arts based thing or a podcast based thing. And
Yeah,
so far, it's not really taken off, but it's not bothering me. I just like doing this. This is a lot of fun for me. So
yeah. Nothing takes off. First,
I don't.
you
I'm
gotta
just honing the craft, right?
just be
Practice.
dogged. Be dogged about it. Just keep
Yeah.
fucking pressing forward and, being
Hmm.
you about it. I mean, the people you see that like have their shit take off 99% of the time, it's not because they're like a savant. It's because they're just like really, really pushing it. They keep going,
Yeah.
and they just don't stop.
Well, motivationally, they have a savant level of dedication. That's my
Yeah,
kind of aspect. Is like, it's not even about being the most lucky or the most talented, but it's like,
yeah,
how are you gonna continue to keep working on this day by day, and just
yeah,
not in like the sort of like Einstein doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, but more so just like putting out different things, throwing stuff at the
yeah.
wall, seeing what sticks. That whole
So you don't like the car driving idea because I think I don't know.
well,
There's like a vibe with cars that I'm just like super into, and
it
I think it'd be really cool.
I think if it gets to that, maybe it'll happen. I don't know if I'm ready to like commit to going out to someone's concert for that. And like I
Yeah,
honestly like would feel like it's a little different. But I guess obviously movie drive-ins are a thing, and like
yeah.
there is a scene theoretically for it. So
If
you
everyone
have
had
to.
Subarus, with the hatchback thing, then I think it would be much better than you and you just rolling down your window, I guess, or sitting in the trunk.
Vibing,
I
vibing.
don't know. I really, really miss. Obviously that's probably what I miss the most, is performing. The other thing I miss the most, and I don't know why, is just going to specifically getting coffee. Like, I miss food. I love food, but like getting like a
One of my
cappuccino.
questions was on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
coffee. Not, I mean, obviously that's because I know you well enough to know how coffee means to you. So,
Let's dive in. Let's do it.
um, uh, I kind of am curious. We didn't. This isn't like a super important thing, but when did you like start drinking coffee, Andrew? Were you like a 12-year-old coffee drinker, or like how old were you when
No,
you got into it?
well, it was very gradual because the people in my family aren't specific about what they drink at all. My grandpa drinks Folgers. My mom does the Keurig thing,
Hmm.
and so I thought, well, this is terrible. And then originally when I hit college, that I started getting coffee from like these kind of old school cafes, like Okokole, which is where I later worked, or
Hmm.
Strata Cafe in Berkeley. And it was only after that I started working in a cafe. There was like third wave, where I was like, oh wow, you can really make this into like a uh,
Thing.
thing. I caught myself because I almost said craft. Um,
Craft beer, craft
yeah,
coffee.
but you can make it
I
like
know.
really, you can make it taste super fucking good, you know.
Yeah, of course.
So like literally probably sophomore year of college is when I really dove in, I think, and like fell in love with making coffee and getting like really good coffee. And since then I've just become a complete asshole and and like do pour overs every morning and stuff.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's what we do here. I don't drink, but my Katya loves coffee, so
You don't drink coffee at all?
I'll occasionally have espresso or whatever, but
Yeah.
generally it's just like not a regular thing. I'm not addicted, and I would
Yeah.
prefer not to. I have my own other vices. I'll stick to those.
Yeah.
Coffee isn't important to me, but I know it's so important for some people's like daily intake. Is you can't live
Yeah.
without it.
Well, I think I actually don't have a dependency, oddly enough. Like, even though I drink a lot of coffee, on the road trip, there were days where I didn't drink coffee and I didn't get a headache. But I just love it. And like when I was working at coffee shops, I would just get so fucked up, like on caffeine. Like I would drink so much caffeine that I would just be like vibrating. And you kind of, at a certain level, you like leave your body. You're so caffeinated. I would drink like 6 or 7 shots and just be like so out of my mind, like talking to customers, just like, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? Yeah, just like going through the motions. It was literally so much fun, and I've never tried any other kind of uppers or anything like that because I'm scared now because I like, caffeine's like whatever,
Yeah.
nothing. But I loved it so much.
You definitely got to be careful with the stimulants. They're a lot.
Well, I don't even like booze that much. I don't like getting too trashed. I'll just have a beer
Yeah, I
or
don't
two.
think I've ever seen you drunk.
Yeah, no, probably
Yeah.
not.
Maybe like a little buzz, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, we've had
Everyone's
a few people get brutal alcohol poisoning in our apartment before.
Yeah, it's a alcohol friendly home, so naturally
Yeah.
you're gonna have your dependency homies come through every now and then.
Every now and then,
Fire.
just bring the wrong kind of combination of things.
Did you get your security deposit or anything like that? Was there a security deposit?
Yeah, actually, I should address that because I'm totally against people moving right now and like traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was totally against us traveling, and I didn't want to travel. And my advice to anybody would be like, only travel if you absolutely have to, and we absolutely had to because our rent was close to $2,000 a month, and even though obviously we couldn't get evicted.
Mm-hmm.
Our landlord would take away our security deposit, which was $2,500, and like we just couldn't afford that, especially because I lost my job. So after I lost my job, we didn't pay rent in March. We paid half the rent in March, and then our landlord said, "Well, you can either get out halfway through, or halfway through April, or you can stay, and I'm going to take away your security deposit." And so we were like, "Fuck!" So we just left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a really, really hard decision. We really didn't want to leave, but I really didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. No, I think you're fine for that. Don't feel bad about it. You have to survive, right? So
Yeah. Well, people are tearing people apart for like moving or traveling right now, and I get it. Like, but we try to take like extreme precautions to make sure, we wouldn't get anybody sick.
I know you guys. I don't think anybody was getting COVID-19 from Montana or Sarah or anything like that. You guys are already relatively clean, fairly more than relatively clean, super clean when it comes to germs.
Yeah, we were super, super careful, and it sucks leaving under those circumstances too. Because we have just love Berkeley and we love our home. And
did you
we
guys
hope to
complete
come
all
back.
your school, or is that all squared away?
It's all online.
Oh, okay.
So technically, I'm still enrolled at University of California, Berkeley. Just hanging on from a thread, though. Like I'm also like really close to graduating, oddly enough.
I would hope. Are you going to?
Yeah.
Sick. Let's go.
Yeah,
Elephant in the room was that
that.
you're like an art major too, which is pretty interesting considering you're like really trying to do the music thing as well.
Yeah. I don't know why I did that exactly. I think I thought that I would be given the opportunity to do a bunch of really cool shit with art, which I sort of was, but I don't think UC Berkeley is the place to go if you're trying to be an artist, unless you want to do thought experiments and like that's your art, you know. If you're really a heady artist and you're not interested in, if you're like aromantic and you just love conceptual thinking so much, and your conceptual thinking transcends what can be described using mathematics or science, and you can only use art to express, you know, your conceptual thoughts, then music really might be your place. Otherwise, though, if you're just into like making shit, then I would say don't go to.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't think
Berkeley,
I don't regret
at least. I think Berkeley as a place
As a
has
city,
an art
yeah.
scene, but UC Berkeley as a school, definitely not maybe the best choice. Did you? Oh, I mean, obviously you probably don't really regret it though, because it's Andrew Montana. This is your life. Like, how can you regret? Uh-oh, Andy, are you frozen? All right, well, while Andrew is lagging out, I'm going to turn on my light. If we have to call it there, we call it there. We got an hour done, but I'll be right back. Light. Oh, Andy's calling me. Yo.
Computer died.
No. Well, we hit an hour, so I'm not tripping. I'm honestly okay with ending it. Do you want to come back real quick and just say, like, what's your vibe?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hopefully the audio saved.
Woo! Scary. Well, you sounded pretty good, so I could maybe just use the stream audio as well.
Did it sound good? If it sounded good, then it was picking up the audio from the microphone.
What's up?
It was all through my computer, so if it sounded good, then it was probably going through the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, my computer just turned on.
Okay, I'll add you back into the call.
Oh, it's getting weird. I see you.
Technical difficulties.
I guess that's gonna happen right now during these times. Oh, you're popping up.
Okay.
Let me check. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, hold on.
And we're back with Andrew Montana from somewhere south of the border. Anywho, so Andrew, what made you come to America? I'm sorry. That was
really. I was smuggling drugs across the border, and then it just like worked out like that. Can you hear me through this microphone right now?
I think so. Tap the mic.
Oh, my interface is off. There we go. For sure. Okay. Beautiful. Got it.
Did the audio save?
The audio did save.
Good.
Golden. Good.
If you're listening to this later on YouTube, I would skip through this. I won't tell you when it'll be normal again, but right now we're just in the technical.
Right. There we go. We good.
You're actually from like San Bruno or something like that.
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that England Empire?
Empire. Say England Empire?
England.
Yeah, it's from the England Empire.
From the British Isle.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's from the Inland Empire, so San Bernardino, Redlands, Riverside, Ontario, Fontana, Rialto, etc.
Hey.
Yeah.
San Bernie.
They do. Yeah.
What was it like growing up there? What was that music scene like?
I never took part in the music scene of San Bernardino really, because I don't know. San Bernardino's. I have to be careful talking about San Bernardino because it's like a very poverty-stricken place with a lot of crime, but it's also like my home that I love dearly, that has a lot of amazing features and a lot of great culture. I think I just didn't have any connections to the music scene growing up, but I would have loved to have. And I went to a few shows like right before going to college, and now I know some creators, people like that. I guess I'm talking specifically about San Bernardino here, because other parts of the Inland Empire are just so radically different. Like Redlands is a very, very wealthy white city. San Bernardino is a very poor Hispanic black city.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so there's a great music scene. It's just I didn't have any connection to it growing up, but it was kind of, I don't know, man. Like San Bernardino's a can be a really hard place to grow up, um, because it's got like the highest murder rate in all of like California and most of the country.
Ooh.
Um, so it's like somewhat rough, but like I grew up there and it was never something that was like I was never in immediate danger after like the 6th grade because my
Mm-hmm.
parents kind of had worked long enough that they could move into apartments that weren't like in the hood and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. You don't really think negative thoughts about the place you grow up when you grow up there, I think, because you're just totally accustomed to it and stuff. Um, and my parents were doing like literally the best they could. Um, yeah, like I said, my mom was like 17, dad was like 18 or 16, dad was 18, and so for what they were working with, like they kept me safe. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, you've never been to the IE?
Never been. I think I've been to LA, but England Empire is east, right? It's
Yeah, east of LA, like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
yeah. I probably haven't. At some point, we'll probably go when I visit Katya's family in Temecula because we might do some
Oh,
house sitting.
Temecula, nice,
Yeah, T
cool.
Mech.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean San Bernardino. Man, I always get weird talking about it, but you should
It's
definitely
okay.
visit.
We don't have to
Definitely
talk about it.
try out the city.
Okay.
It's just hard. I don't want to like be because I've heard other people that are from San Bernardino be like, "Oh yeah, it was a shithole," and I'm always like, dude, like it's a shithole because like you make a shithole a place by calling it that over and over again, and then people start
Mm-hmm.
to get that idea about it. I think San Bernardino is like an amazing place with like beautiful scenery and you know a lot of hardworking people. It's like an immigrant city, really now.
Yeah.
More than anything.
On the come up. Do you think that sort of growing up in a place that is more downtrodden, less, cushy is like maybe like I live in Danville, which is a very like white, rich suburban area. And I don't really attribute any of my personality to the location, but obviously living in a very, very affordable or like safe area is a
Yeah,
privilege. But
yeah, for sure.
do you think it had where you came from? Did that have like an effect on your sort of like desire to hustle?
Yeah, I think that my mom dropped out of high school and she got pregnant with me, and then was working like 2 jobs and getting her degree, um, and couldn't afford for me to stay with her until I was. She's in the house. I don't know. So couldn't afford for me to stay with her until I was probably like 11 years old. And then my dad, for 7 years of my life, lived in like a garage of his friend's house, like on the second
Wow.
story of a garage. Um, and so watching them kind of like really pull themselves up from the bootstraps, with almost like no help. And when I say pull them up from they didn't become millionaires, but they got
Mm-hmm.
jobs. They didn't like sell drugs. They didn't like let me starve or give me
Mm-hmm.
away or anything like that. And so I can't really like complain now. And I feel like having like that intense, insane motivation to not stop working, and that feeling that I'm never working hard enough is like bad, but it's also, I don't know, it's what kept me alive from them
Mm.
having, they had that. And here I am. So
The
I don't
survival
know.
instinct.
Yeah, it's like this, like, oh shit, the walls are closing in. I gotta like crawl. I gotta crawl out. And it's not because my dad's like a millionaire and like worked really hard and went to Harvard. It's because my dad's worked for the city of San Bernardino for 20 years in a job he probably doesn't like that much, and
Mm-hmm.
he's willing to do shit like that. So I don't know.
They wanted to
Having
give
that.
you the best life they could,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
theoretically.
Yeah, yeah. And I, you know, I can't imagine having a 3-year-old right now. Like which is how
Yeah.
I would have been if I had a child when my mom did. And so I think I just don't want to like I don't give a shit about going to Berkeley, like graduating with the degree from Berkeley, but it matters to them, and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to just kind of get that done.
They could be
I just
like,
want to,
our son graduated from Berkeley.
yeah,
We
and like
did
I
that.
literally had teachers tell me growing up, like kids from this school do not go to Berkeley, like or kids from San Bernardino do not go to good schools. Like you need to become comfortable with the idea of like just working a job and just living here. And so I don't know. I always felt this
Oh.
pressure of like this lack of belief that people from San Bernardino would be able to like do what, not to succeed at what they love, but just to do what they love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. My parents are a big driving force for me. Just their, like I said, like their steadfast motivation and drive.
There you go.
You know?
I would love to hear
Yeah.
you kind of tap into that emotion in a song potentially or in an art piece or whatever. Do what you want. I can't tell you what to do, but just saying.
I think it definitely is. It exists within the compulsivity of my work. Like anytime you sense a certain level of tenacity or compulsion, just whatever, then that's there it is. There's that thing, that like kind of undying need to just keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
not to be super weird and intense.
No, no, not at all. I think everyone has that general. Well, and I can't speak for everyone, but in the music industry, if you don't have that, at least to some degree, why are you trying to
Yeah,
have a career in this world?
yeah.
Because you
Why would
can't.
you? I think you also have to just be comfortable with struggling in general, and obviously, the first thing people think about is struggling because you're poor. Well, first thing some people might think about is struggling
Mm-hmm.
because you're poor because of your settings. And so, like for me, like I've been poor before. So it's like if I
Mm-hmm.
have to be poor for another 5-10 years, whatever. Like hopefully I can
Yeah.
work hard enough that I have a okay living situation, but I'm okay being poor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you went to Berkeley but then chose to go into a more artistic field speaks kind of volumes to that sort of thing because theoretically you could have done business or computer science and done well enough in that field that you could find a job that paid like 80K starting and like you could have gotten very financially comfortable had you chosen to just care about that. But that's not your passion, right? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, and I think my
I
parents
hope
worked
not.
hard enough so that they could support themselves. So there was never any pressure on me to like make enough money to support my family, even though I have friends that have had to do that have had to like, have had to go through the college experience, not with the goal of getting themselves rich, but of like paying off their parents' debt and stuff like that. And so
Mm,
the privilege that I have is that my parents were able to pull themselves up and really, support themselves. My dad works for the county. My mom's a teacher.
mm-hmm.
And they were able to like support themselves so that I could kind of do what I want to do, which is not super common. I mean, most cultures around the world, you go to college and go to school so that you can support your family. And I
Yeah,
just don't really have to do that. I mean, obviously,
gives
I
you
hope
freedom.
if I make some money, it'd be nice to
Yeah,
buy my mom a house or something. But
the classic,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
classic.
But
Well,
I don't
there you
have
go.
to. I'm not like, yeah. I know people who are like taking 17 units a semester trying to like become a pharmacist so they can support their mom, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to do that, which is like very, very
Get a
lucky.
high-paying job fast that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe doesn't fulfill you, but it fulfills the bank account. So,
That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I feel like I am on the whole like you're born on third base and you feel like you hit a home run.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm very aware of the fact that I was born in California of all places. His
Yeah.
little sister just walked into the room.
Well, we can
Um,
we can sort of wrap it up, but
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of good insight given in this interview, Andrew.
Hope so.
Excited to see where things go. I think
Yeah.
the springtime's track is gonna do well. I'll give it my blessing. I'll post it on my story, shout it out.
Thanks.
I would love to have you on again. I feel like more so it's just like I have to go eat dinner. That's like the biggest thing
Yeah, me
causing me
too.
to have to end this call. But glad we got to catch up a bit. Anything
Yeah,
you
me
want to
too.
put out there real quick?
Oh man. Yeah, just connect with me if you're not somebody that I know, or if you are somebody that I know, please reach out. I miss you.
DMs are open.
Yeah, DMs are open. I love talking to people and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, and thanks for doing this. Let's do it.
Of
I'm totally down
course.
to do it again.
Oh yeah.
We've been quarantined down here, by the way, in our basement for about a week, and yesterday was the first day we were able to see family, like big brother family, because past kind of the threshold. And so
I see.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks. So
the
thanks for
germs hopefully died. For
hopefully,
sure.
ideally, been
I think we'll
injecting
have a
bleach into
Zoom
my skin.
call or something. Maybe a
Yeah, let's do it.
Zoom and chill. Tiger Leet, Zoom and chill. Anywho,
Yeah,
thank you so much for talking to me, Andrew. Always
thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Anytime. Yeah, let's do this again sometime.
Hell yeah. Take care. Good luck in Virginia. I hope to see you soon at some point. I mean, if you're going to be over in the East Coast.
Second this is over, I'm going back to California for the tour. So
Oh, okay. Sick.
yeah,
I'll be
I'll
there.
see you in 3 years.
All right. Bye. Or I'll end the stream. Sweet. Thank you so much for doing that, Andrew.
Yeah, I'll send you the wave file.
Yes, please do,
Yeah.
and I'll get it up there. If you want to send me any, like you said, you were working on a video. Did that finish? Are you finished with that video?
Not yet.
Okay.
It'll be finished probably in a week or two then.
I can repost the video as like a promo material for the podcast if you want.
Sure. Yeah. I'll try to get it done.
I need to fucking fix my lighting. It's so dark on my camera right now. It's
It
really
got dark
fucked.
all of a sudden. I feel it was like light.
Well, the sun got clouded, and then like it became like this.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even see my eyes, and I look like a scary person. Anyways, I really have to pee. It was wonderful catching up.
Yeah.
Andy.
Send me any promo stuff, and I'll post it on my Instagram and stuff like that.
Sweet,
Too.
will do.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care, Andrew. Bye. Thank you, the heart.